welcome to another episode on the TTTS show. My name is Avinash and I will be your host for this particular episode. So apparently we have a guest on this episode, which makes this episode extra special. So I would like to, start off and, with the usuals. We'll be starting by introducing our crew members for the day. So of course, we have Asia. Yeah, we also have Edwin today.
Yeah, my name's Edwin.
Yes, we all know that, Edwin. Awesome. Okay, now we're moving on to G.
What's up, guys?
All right, so why don't you actually ask the guests to introduce themselves, G?
Okay, so today's guest is actually my friend from tuition back then when I was in secondary school. Okay, so Dini, introduce yourself.
Right. So, hi everyone. I'm Dini. Sorry, my full name is Dini. You guys can call me Dini. I'm actually from UITM Shalam. Currently pursuing my degree, in English Professional Communication. Thank you for inviting me to this podcast.
Sure thing.
So yeah, that's about it.
Okay, it's very brief introduction. So I think we'll straight jump to the questions, Avi.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
All right,
No
so
pressure, no pressure.
no pressure. Okay, Dini, my first question to you. Okay, related to your degree. All right. So what is your degree about, and why are you pursuing it?
Okay, actually, I'm from TESL, teaching English as second language, but I shift to English as a professional communication because I think the job scope is much more wider. As in, like you can be a journalist if you're pursuing English for professional communication. Well, if I pursue TESL, I can only just teach, and there's not much of a wide job scope for it. So my degree is actually about communicating in English professionally, especially when there I learn about pragmatics and business, where you have to be professional in business. So you have to use the right language, like for example, formal language, and you're not supposed to add biasness in your job.
Okay, so so basically, English in the professional world, right? That's what your degree is about right now.
Yeah.
Okay, um, Avi, the next question.
All right,
You
sure.
ready?
So, why do you think English is important as a professional communication language?
Okay. That is because when you're speaking, actually there's two parts. Firstly, okay, how do I say this? Um,
It's alright, take your time.
you need the
Yeah,
you
go
need
on.
the professionalism to actually make communication with your clients. For example, if you're speaking um, if you're speaking like Manglish, your client might not understand you completely. And what if your clients aren't locals? For example, if
Ah,
they're from Japan and they can't understand you if you speak
Oh,
Manglish. So
Indonesia.
that is why that's English
agree.
for professional communication.
Mm.
Agree with you.
Okay, so you touched on the Manglish, right? Okay, so I think most of us know what is Manglish. I think Edwin, you know what is Manglish, right?
Could you explain?
Okay, I will. Okay, so
That means he doesn't know.
that's trying to make me define it. Okay, so basically Manglish is like Malaysian English. So like we mix some words. I don't know if it's specifically from Malay language. I don't think it's only Malay language, right? We
Chinese.
Chinese, Tamil, we just
Yeah.
mix it. So the most famous one is like we use la at the end of every
Right.
sentence. Right? I think even Edwin is using la now so much. He's so
Yeah.
used to it right now. Okay, so my next question for you, right? For like even all of you is, do you think that Manglish is used more than proper English in Malaysia? And what is your opinion on English being used instead of proper English?
Definitely, Manglish is used in Malaysia widely because we're diverse. We have Malay, Chinese, Indians. So when we speak, we don't want to talk formally because um, what if what if their first language, I mean their second language isn't English? So they'll be having a hard time to speak, to communicate. Therefore, their communication is only one way and not two way. So I think Manglish does, um, like keep the bonding between Malaysians, especially because um, if you see people outside, like when they are hanging out, they actually speak Manglish mostly. In my experience, I heard mostly they're only speaking Manglish, and I think that's a good thing because Manglish is some sort of an identity in Malaysia.
Mm.
So I don't think that's a bad idea in my perspective.
But do you think it's a bad idea for you to speak Manglish in a professional workspace? Is Dini there? Having some technical issues right now. All right.
Is it okay?
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you're back. You're back online.
Did you get the question? I asked you some.
The
Okay, just
second
repeat.
question.
I repeat myself. Okay. Do you think Manglish is okay to be used in a professional workspace, like in Malaysia, to
Professional.
among locals?
Manglish.
Yeah, among local
Uh,
professionals.
in a business settings, um, if the people in the workplace is okay with English, then I think there is absolutely no problem. Especially if they understand each other very well.
Mm.
But there's locals who prefer um, speaking in formal English language. Then
Yeah.
I think people there should consider speaking in formal language.
Mm.
Formal English. Okay, so
Understood.
I want to ask Edwin the same question, right? Since Edwin is from Indonesia.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Okay. So for you personally,
Yeah.
you've been in Malaysia for like 1 year, right?
A year and a half. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think like you're speaking more Manglish now than like proper English?
So from personally, it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
If it comes to speaking with my Indonesian friends that can only speak English, then I'd alter my speech so it's just like formal English or the slangs me and him use between each other. But when it comes to you guys, then I'd probably incorporate some of the Malaysian slang into it
Yeah.
to get closer with you guys or integrate you guys
Oh.
better.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, understood. Hey,
Yes.
anyway, I have another question for you.
Sure.
This out of curiosity, right? So because
Yes.
Manglish is something that was suited, or it's more of a cultural basis. Am I right, Dini? So
Yeah.
it's something more of a cultural basis where we as Malaysians kind of altered the original language of English. So back in Indo when you're talking with your friends, right? Do you
Yeah.
guys have like Indolish
Indolish.
Indo English? Yeah,
Okay, let me
English.
just go with
does
the
Indolish.
something
Indolish.
exist like that?
Indolish.
Um, based on my experience, based on my experience, there's two ways or three ways in which we speak. So between me and my friends, it's either we speak English straight and then we switch to Indonesian. So it's not a mix of words. It's instead like some parts of the sentence we speak in English and we follow it up with a straight Indonesian. But the other perspective to that is some other people I know they speak Indonesian and they put English words into it.
So basically Indolish.
Uh, it's
Don't make it a word. Please don't make it a
It's
word.
not a word, right?
It's not a word.
it's more I guess, but no one really calls it calls it that there.
So no one
Yeah,
calls it
Indolish
Indolish.
doesn't have a good to
Good
it.
ring to it, right? Yeah. Something that they don't claim, right? Okay. Think that's all for me for now. Avi,
All right.
any
So
questions?
this is a question for Dini. Are you there?
Yes, she's there.
All right.
Yeah.
So So I was talking about some teaching experience, right? So what has your teaching experience taught you about English among Malaysian students, especially those from public schools? Not talking about international schools, just just focusing on public schools in general.
So currently, I'm working part time for a tuition center. Mainly, there's only primary school students there, and also public schools. I think that their English is not as good as international students, because at school, I think the teachers there are teaching English, but uh, like, what do you call, like a we bahasa is like
By
what do you
language,
call it in English?
bilingual.
Bilingual.
Yeah, yeah,
I said duolingo. Wait,
bilingual. So I think the teachers are teaching them using bilingual. For example, if in a Malay school, they would teach English using Malay,
mm,
and for Chinese school, they would include Mandarin while teaching
mm,
English. So I think that is why their English is not as good as international students, and I think that needs to change,
Okay, so I
because
one question for
when
you,
I'm
right?
teaching,
Okay.
I also have a hard time explaining to them because I can't explain in English because they won't understand. So um, it has to change.
understood.
So, like you're teaching English, right, at the tuition center. So
Mm.
do you teach English using Malay or just like pure English throughout the whole class?
Okay, funny story. Actually, during the first week of teaching, I actually use English, and their facial expression is quite funny. Like they don't understand fully the instructions that I gave. So there's no other way that I have to include Malay as well, because they don't understand the instruction.
Mm.
And I think there has to be a way for them not to rely on their first language, which is Malay.
Okay, so from that, okay, moving on to the next question, lah. How do you think we can get Malaysians to speak better English?
Um, for that, I think they should be able to search for alternatives other than in school, right? When they're watching movies, I suggest them to put on the subtitles
Mm.
in English, and also the dub in English too, because I think that will increase their knowledge on English and therefore speak better English. Also, when listening to music wise, read up the lyrics. It will help. And sorry for the background noise.
It's fine.
Also, books are definitely one of the major impact that will make your English better.
Mm.
I would suggest books, not too thick like novels. You can start off with fiction, non-fiction books. Yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
so how about you guys? What do you guys think? Like, how do we improve our English among Malaysians? Start there.
Um,
How about Asia? How do you think?
I kind of agree. Okay, I English is my first language. And when I was younger, I've never really had a problem with basic English, but uh, I had a problem learning Malay instead. Yeah, I had a big problem learning Malay. Yeah, I used to get like C, D with I'm just 10 years old. I just can't speak basic Malay. But the one thing that really helped me was by reading books. Like she said, don't read like thick books. I read children's story books or like color like books that explain situations that I still have those books in my house. So yeah, I really think that books help me a lot in like learning a new language. I think that applies from for people who have like Malay as their first language and to learn English. And besides that, I think it's all about how you're brought up. Really I wouldn't say like hated my parents, or I wanted them to include more languages while growing up in this household. I wanted them to speak more Malay to me, or my native language is Iban, right? I wanted them to speak more Iban to me so I can learn and not be struggling. I only learned base Malay and Iban when I was 13, like fully learned them the languages when I was 13. So I think it's just how you're being brought up. I wish that parents would include um more English, at least teach them basic English so they don't like struggle too much. And also books. And if you don't like reading, then movies. Yeah, definitely subtitles.
Okay. How about you, Edwin? Like, you're from Indonesia. Like, what do you think? Like, we as Malaysians can do to like speak better English?
I agree with the points that Dini and Asia made, but sorry, not but. I think that you guys can further improve speaking English by talking English at home or using English in your day-to-day conversations more.
Mm,
As to actually improve, you have to practice it. So
yeah,
you might be able to read subtitles and read books, but if you're not practically using the language, you might not be able to
yeah,
improve on the language.
that's right.
So that's what I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
honestly, it's quite understandable. But I have like a kind of a follow up question, right? Okay,
right.
so I think that everyone is pretty much aware that when you're learning a language or you're learning a particular
Mm,
subject, it comes down to actually personal interests. That's kind of
yeah,
one of the factors to that play. So I'm pretty sure, like Asia, when you wanted to learn Malay, right? I'm pretty
yeah,
sure it is your own personal interest to
yeah,
learn
that's right,
Malay,
that's right.
right? So is there like in a teaching situation, right? Maybe Dini. So in a teaching situation, like how do you intrigue students' interest in a sense that even though they don't like, but they still get like, are there ways that you guys implement to get them to try to speak English, because it's something that I would say it's valuable when you grow up, because language is just something that enables us to connect with each other. Like Edwin, because I can speak pretty decent English, I can understand what Edwin's trying to say,
Yeah.
right? But because there are some of my Malay friends, not to spit hate on anyone, because of their their inefficiency in English, Edwin has trouble talking with them, because language is just something that helps humans understand and communicate with each other. So like, how do you intrigue interest of students to actually master and learn English?
Okay, so actually, I have my own ways of teaching them. For like the first week, I will ask them to sit in front and stand in front and talk about their daily life in English. So during that time, they will think in English and speak in English, and it's quite humorous if you think about it, because they will look around and search for words. They imagine things, right? So everyone was laughing, so they're having a good time. And also, when they're talking, right? I always say that speak English. so so when they're talking with themselves, they will always like forgot to speak in English, so they have to switch it.
Yeah.
So basically, you force them to
Humor.
speak in
No, sure.
English.
Not worse. Maybe humor. Like.
Okay, so you were a TESL student before this, right, Dini?
Yeah.
So what made you change your course from TESL to English Professional Communication? Why did you change?
Um, Actually, I wanted to pursue TESL, but my qualifications aren't that good. So
uh,
um, English professional education it is. But I would have waited for the second intake, but I chose not to, because I think if TESL isn't for me, then why not choose something else? Because I've experienced TESL in my foundation years. So for my degree, I choose English as a professional communication, because the job scope is wider, and also I can also teach after this degree, because it's English related. So I guess
mm,
that's that.
Okay,
nice.
So basically, you, you change your course because of your career path. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Avi, any more questions?
Yeah, of course, of course. There's quite quite a handful more left. Right. So other than English, oh yeah, okay. On the subject of TESL, right? Because previously, as my understanding, you're a TESL student. So TESL actually it's teaching English as a second language, right? It's not a primary language because so as Malaysians, right? Do you think that English should be we should actually have a good mastery of English alongside Malay because primary language in Malay in Malaysia is Malay, so that we have to be good at it. But in because of of globalization and how our current times are changing, right? Like, do you think that we need the same level of proficiency as in Malay language and also with English language?
Okay, that's quite a tough question. Like, what? Personally, I think it's okay if you speak Malay better than English because that is who you are. Like, you're from Malaysia, you're not from Britain or America, right?
Mm.
So I guess that's actually okay. It's just that when people condemn that you can't speak English very well, then that's kind of
Mm.
hurtful and it's not nice. So people should encourage their friends to speak better English by not judging them, I guess. And also, if they're trying to speak, then don't make fun of them. It's actually bad.
Yeah. You see
Okay.
that a lot on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Hey,
Twitter
also,
warriors.
also Dini is very active on Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, we can
Don't
Yeah.
expose me.
link her Twitter now.
Okay. Okay, Dini. I think you speak a few different languages, right? You speak Malay, you speak English, and also you speak Mandarin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
So this is like a very general question, like for everybody, okay, right? Um, other than English, what other languages do you think people should learn, like other than only English and Malay?
As for me, I think you should learn Mandarin as well because that's the first lang. I mean, like the first language that is everyone is speaking that language. Like English is the second most used language, right? So Mandarin will be the first most used language, and it's quite good for business as well if you're traveling, right?
Mm.
If that person can speak Mandarin, then you can communicate in Mandarin also.
Mhm.
That's kind of a gain. And in Malaysia, I think there's a job like if there's a job and your boss is Chinese, so you can always speak Chinese with them. Maybe they'll give you a raise or something.
Oh,
Oh,
it's all about the money, I
Okay.
see.
she's like Adi.
Yeah, like
It's
a
all about the money.
Bargaining chip.
Yeah, same
you know,
question.
on a
Oh,
on a on a curiosity note, right?
right.
Where did you pick up Chinese?
I think you went
Actually,
to
I
Chinese
was
school.
from a primary school, like Chinese primary school, so they teach Mandarin there. And actually, I cried when I got there in the first place. I have to write my name like the whole page, and I was crying just by writing my name in Chinese.
Oh
Oh.
my.
Oh,
Uh.
but I guess it's worth it then.
So you can write your name in Chinese now, right? Just making sure.
Oh,
Oh, she's missing.
Yeah.
Okay, she's here.
Right.
Okay. How
I'm
about you
back.
guys, Aisha and Edwin? What do you guys think? What other languages should we learn?
um, I I also think that you should learn besides Malay and English, like Chinese. I think it's really good. I'm so like envious of seeing my friends who are non like native Chinese speakers speak Chinese and they just like integrate into the crowds. I'm so jealous. I actually have a funny story about learning Chinese. When I was 10, halfway through the year, I decided, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go to Chinese class. I come in and it was like halfway through the year already. So everyone started speaking Chinese already. And I was just like, I don't know what's happening. I only know like ni hao, like that, that's it. Yeah,
So
so
apparently the only two words that Asia knows is
Ni
"wohen
hao.
ke what
Pohon ke
maybe
ai,
yesterday.
pohon maybe. Yeah. That's what my Chinese friend told me. She said these are the only two sentences you should know. Oh yeah. So basically, back to the story. Everyone was speaking Chinese. I was just like in class, like, what's happening? What's happening? And then I dropped out. I gave up. And then
So
you know how colleges in UKM they also offer Chinese classes, right? So
yeah,
I enrolled in the Chinese class at first, but
and then
last
you didn't
year
go
I didn't go
because you're
because
too
we were so
busy.
busy.
I know.
Yeah,
Same thing
so
happened here.
I do want to pick up Chinese in the future. Not when we're busy, maybe during sem break, it's hard, but like I think it's gonna be worth it. I feel like it's nice because most of my Chinese friends they speak English to me, but they are so much more enthusiastic about speaking to other people who can speak Chinese, and I just want that. I really want that.
Okay. How about you, Edwin? I think Edwin can speak a bit of Mandarin, right?
Oh yeah,
Like
I can understand and speak a bit.
a bit. Okay, so so you think, what do you think other languages than English that we need to learn?
So other than your native language, so for you guys it's Malay since you guys are in Malaysia. I think your native language is quite important because the
Mm,
people you're gonna meet and communicate with around and about the place is typically people who speak your native language.
mm,
Second most important language I'd say is English, because later in the professional world, especially when you're applying for international companies, the common language used is English.
mm.
And lastly, I'd say Chinese is the next most important language because right now China is the second largest economy, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
And if you want to do business, especially with Chinese people in China, Mandarin is a really important language to
Yeah.
communicate between them.
Okay, so
So I think those are my rankings.
so Mandarin, so all three of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah, I
It's
see,
all
Avi.
about that dough.
How about you, Avi? Maybe you have a different view on this question.
To be honest, right? Okay, so I always think of language. It's funny how I'm the host and I'm answering a question, but because she asked it,
Gee,
I'm
what
gonna
about
go
you?
Because I
for
just
it.
want to know your opinion, right?
only
Alright, sure, sure,
21.
sure. Not an issue. Okay, so language is something. To be very honest, I'm Indian, so I can speak Tamil. I can also speak. I mean, Malay English is part of it. I did go to a Chinese. What they call it? Because after primary school, I never went back home. I went to Chinese daycare, so I was forced to pick up Chinese
Oh,
to
that's
survive there.
interesting.
It was a
To
forced
survive.
situation.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah. So that is part of it. And then in high school, I picked up French. So
French.
Ooh.
to be honest, right?
Forget.
Uh,
Au revoir, something like that. I'm
yeah.
just
So
trying.
so actually, among all the languages that I picked up, I actually have this thing where in terms of there's two things. There's one practicality, and the other side is more of the beauty of the language itself. So each language is from a certain origin. Like Chinese is from China, and then they have all their their pecahan and all that. Cut that
They're in
part.
divisions.
Cut that part. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
Bloopers.
keep that
right.
in.
So Chinese is from China. So China they have their own like I would say derivation, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Cantonese,
Yeah.
Hokkien.
So in that sense, and if you look at the beauty of like like French is from the Latin area, like the Mediterranean Sea, right? So if you actually go to that area, French, Spanish, because Spain is nearby, Italy, Italian, most of those languages are pretty, I would say, pretty almost they're almost similar. Just that there's certain things that is one like the grammatical structure of things that how the language is structured is pretty much the same, and that's kind of the beauty of language because
Mm.
it's something that was created by man, and it is a representation of our culture as humanity. So on terms of language, like the beauty of a language, that is also important. But on the other spectrum, in terms of practicality, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people touch on practicality in this
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah, practicality in terms like I'm on same page with all of you. You got to know how to speak Malay if you want to be in Malaysia. English, very important as well. Chinese, if you want to, expand your horizons. Because at the end of the day, it's all about if I can understand you or not. Because if if I can, like, G is Punjabi, right? And
Yeah.
if I could speak Punjabi, I think that we would actually I wouldn't want to say, because we're pretty good friends at the moment.
Mm.
So
At the
maybe
moment.
if you
Can
speak,
be better friends.
yeah,
Uh,
I'm not saying we're bad friends. I'm just saying that we're good friends, right? The thing is, if in a sense that I've not known you at that time, in the beginning of Sem One, if I could speak Punjabi, I'm pretty sure we would have found a way to click even
Hugged.
faster. I mean, the bond still built up over time. That's one thing. But on the other hand, yeah, language is something that helps to bridge the barrier between communication between humans. Because if we don't have some medium to connect this,
Yeah.
we would find it difficult. Like, like example,
I
Asia
speak
starts,
Iban to you.
yeah,
Yeah.
Asia starts, jabbing you with sticks or something. That's not good.
That is so
Cut that part out.
all all the
No,
strong
no,
people are gonna come out. I'm kidding. Actually, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You're my friend. You're allowed to make those jokes. It's fine.
yeah. So,
no comment.
no, it's not to offend you, but the
It's
picture that
all
I had
funny.
in my
It's fine.
no, because the picture that I had in my head, right? If, let's say, if I and you were primitive, right? Or maybe you stick you with a sickle and you will be like with me with a stick or something. Yeah. So
Oh
that's kind
my
of the image I was having. So if we, there is a certain consensus to, are we on the same page? That's where language can access. That's why it's important for us to know many languages. The more
god.
languages you know, the more people you can connect with, and you can
Yeah.
expand
And
your
the more dough
horizon.
you make, like, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, bro.
So in conclusion, Avi loves like the beauty of language, and the three of us are just like dough, money, money, money.
Hey, so personally, like I think,
Oh,
um, for me, Mandarin, Hindi, uh, and Tamil are actually very important
Mm,
right now, right? Because China is not the only like big economy right now. India is one also, right?
yeah.
Abhi, I think Abhi can agree that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's Indian, it's gonna agree. Okay, so I think for me, it's not only Mandarin. As I mentioned, obviously Malay and English for international users. Also Mandarin. Unfortunately, I don't know Mandarin, so I have to learn that.
Dini, you should
Uh,
teach us.
Hindi and Punjabi, I might teach you all maybe. And I can understand Tamil, but I can't speak. So that's why I and Abi actually connected. In the middle of Sem one because he didn't know I understood Tamil
Oh,
until late Sem one. Okay, so I think that's my personal opinion. So basically, you guys are saying that the most like majority of you are saying that Mandarin is important,
yeah.
right? Okay, all right. Okay, so I think we're gonna
so
wrap this up
sad.
in a while. All right. So Dini, it's like, okay. Do you have any words for those who are interested in pursuing their studies in English?
I think if you have the passion for it, then you should really go for it because it's
Mm,
actually rather interesting. And if you're trying to improve your English, you can also pursue anything in English. For example, TESL or English as a professional communication, and there are other courses that includes English as well. So yeah, you should definitely go for it. And if you want to take it as a challenge, then I'm rooting for you.
Awesome,
ah,
awesome.
Right.
let's go.
So on a side note, to the listeners, if you are not ready for stress, never take engineering. Okay, that's
Uh,
That's always an option.
it's always a
oh
different
my
option,
god.
especially electrical engineering. Okay, try to avoid that.
One complaint.
Oh,
Okay.
someone's going.
I think that's all we have for this episode, right, Avi? Or do you have any other
Yep.
questions?
I think that would be it. So thank you guys for listening, for tuning in. Thank you to our special guest Dini for joining this Tetarik session, right? And thank you to the crew. So I would like to say, me and G signing out. See you guys in the next episode.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.